The woman in the window Cole Winters lived alone in a quiet apartment on the edge of orbital colony 7. Every night, the lights of the nearby towers blinked like stars. It was a peaceful place, far away from the noise of Earth. Nothing ever changed, here, until one night something did. It started with a sound, a soft flutter, like wings brushing against glass. Cole woke up suddenly, his heart beating fast. He sat up in bed, his eyes adjusting to the dim blue light from the hallway. At first he thought it was just a bird. Maybe something got trapped between the glass panels again, but then he saw her. Outside his window, floating just above the balcony rail, was a tall figure with wide, feathered wings. Her body was slender and her skin shimmered faintly like starlight. Long hair flowed around her face and she was staring straight at him. Cole didn't move. He didn't even breathe. The figure didn't move either. She just watched him. Her wings didn't flap. She hovered there like she belonged to the air. The only sound was her breathing, deep, slow, and heavy. It fogged the window glass with every exhale. He blinked. She was still there. Cole slowly reached for his communicator on the nightstand. He turned it on, trying to record the moment. But as soon as he pointed the lens toward the window, the screen glitched. White static. Black lines, and then the image was gone. He looked back up. She was gone too. The next morning he tried to explain what happened to himself. Maybe he had been dreaming. Maybe the late shifts were messing with his head again. Still, he couldn't forget the way she looked at him. Not angry, not curious. Something else. Something sad. The next night, it happened again. Same time, same place, same sound. Cole didn't sleep. He waited. And just after 2 in the morning, he saw her again. The winged woman floated outside his window, her eyes fixed on his. Cole whispered, "Who are you?" She didn't answer. She just breathed, slow and deep. He walked to the window and pressed his hand to the glass. Without blinking, she raised her hand too. But she didn't touch the window. She stayed just an inch away, her fingers spread wide as if she was afraid to make contact. Cole's skin chilled. The space between them was thin, but something powerful was there. Something he couldn't explain. He stayed like that for several minutes, heart pounding. Then, as quickly as she came, the woman turned and vanished into the night sky. Over the next week, Cole began to change. He stayed up later. He stopped eating meals properly. Every night, he waited at the window, eyes scanning the darkness, hoping to see her again, and she always came. Same time, same way, but she never spoke. He tried to talk to her, asked where she was from, why she came to him, why she looked so sad. She only watched, only breathed. And then, one night, something changed. Cole woke up with 3 long scratches on his forearm. Not deep, but not shallow either. And on the balcony just outside the door lay a long black feather, not like a bird's feather. It shimmered with purple and blue edges. It pulsed faintly in the dark, like it was alive. Cole picked it up. It was warm in his hand, his mind filled with strange images, an alien world, a sky full of wings, a scream that echoed through mountains. Then, it all vanished. Cole dropped the feather in shock. What was happening to him? Was she doing this? Was she trying to show him something? Or warn him? The next night she came again. But this time, her breathing was faster, harsher, like she was in pain. Cole rushed to the window. "What do you want from me?" She tilted her head, eyes glowing faintly. Then she reached into her chest armor and pulled something out. A small, glowing stone. She placed it gently on the balcony, and then she was gone. Cole opened the door and stepped outside. The stone gave off a soft blue light pulsing like a heartbeat. When he touched it, a sharp heat ran through his body and he heard a voice, not from outside but from inside his own head. A whisper. A name. Not his. A place. Not Earth. And a word that didn't exist in any human language. Cole dropped to his knees, the stone still glowing in his hand. Whatever this winged woman was, She wasn't just watching him. She had chosen him. Signs in the sky the next day, Cole didn't leave his apartment. He sat in silence, the glowing stone still resting on his table, wrapped in a thin cloth. The pulse inside it had slowed, but it was still there, steady, like a sleeping heart. He kept glancing at the balcony, expecting her to appear in the daylight, but she didn't. And that somehow made it worse. He hadn't imagined it. The feather, the stone, the images in his mind. They were real. But what did they mean? That night, he stayed awake again. He didn't plan to sleep. Every light in his apartment was off. The window was open slightly. Cold air brushed his skin, but he didn't care. He was waiting. 3 a.m., nothing. 7, nothing. His heart began to race. What if she wasn't coming? What if something had happened, and then, fluttering, like soft thunder in the wind? Cole stood quickly, but she wasn't alone this time. High above the city towers, 3 more winged shapes drifted through the sky, smaller than her, faster, and far more aggressive in the way they moved. Cole leaned, closer to the glass than he saw it. Her, the winged woman. But tonight she wasn't just hovering outside his window. She was flying toward the others. Fast. Fierce. Her wings caught the moonlight as she soared, diving straight into the dark sky like a predator. Cole's breath caught in his throat. In seconds they clashed. No weapons, only claws and strength and blinding speed. He watched in stunned silence as feathers burst into the air like sparks. Her scream echoed through the night, high and sharp like broken glass. She fought with everything she had. The others hissed and shrieked in a strange, twisted language. One of them fell from the sky, crashing into a rooftop far below. Cole gripped the windowsill, eyes wide. What was happening? Who were they? Why were they fighting? The winged woman spun mid-air, slamming one of the creatures into a comm tower. The lights flickered in the nearby buildings. Sparks rained down. Alarms began to echo faintly across the colony. And then, silence. The other shapes were gone, and she was gone too. Cole stood frozen. The sky above was empty again, as if none of it had happened, but he knew it did, and he had the proof. The next morning, Cole went to the rooftop where one of the creatures had fallen. It was gone. Not a trace of blood, not a feather, just a deep burn mark in the shape of a wing. No one else seemed to notice. Or maybe they were pretending. Later, at the repair bay where Cole used to work, he asked around. Did anyone see the lights last night? He asked an old friend, Tanner. Tanner laughed. Lights? Sky's always flickering. These orbit towers are held together with glue and hope. What about the alarms? The power surge? Software bug, they said. Had some engineers run a patch? This morning. Cole didn't believe it. Someone was covering it up. Or something was making people forget. He went back home and pulled out the feather again. This time, he placed it next to the stone. The moment they touched, the feather pulsed once, then disintegrated into ash. But the stone began to glow brighter. A voice echoed in Cole's head. Louder now, sharper. A sentence formed in broken English. You are marked. His body stiffened. What did that mean? Suddenly, his window burst open. A gust of wind blew through the apartment, knocking over a chair. Cole turned. She was there. Not outside. Inside. The winged woman stood in his living room, her eyes glowing faint blue, her wings folded, tight against her back. She looked injured, scratches on her arms, her lower lip bleeding faintly. But she still looked powerful. Dangerous. Otherworldly. Cole stepped back. How did you get in? She didn't answer with words. Instead, she walked toward him, slow and calm, her bare feet silent on the metal floor. Then she knelt in front of the stone and placed one hand over it. Instantly, images flashed in Cole's mind again. A shattered world, a glowing rift tearing through the sky, alien soldiers being hunted, her people, guardians of that rift, being wiped out. He gasped and fell to his knees. She finally spoke. Her voice was soft, cracked from pain. "They are coming." Cole looked at her. "Who?" Her eyes narrowed. "The ones who escaped. They hunt the marked." "Me?" he whispered. She nodded. "You touched the stone, now they smell you." Cole felt cold all over. "Why me?" "Because I gave it to you," she said. "You are my choice." Before he could ask what that meant, she stood again. "They will try to find you. I will stop them. But I am weak." Cole's heart pounded. "Why help me?" She stepped closer, her wings opening slowly behind her. Then she did something she hadn't done before. She reached out, and her fingers touched his chest, right above his heart. "Because your soul called to mine." The air around them shimmered. A spark of light flowed from her hand into his chest. Cole gasped as the stone flared brightly behind her. When he looked up again, she was gone. Only the wind remained, and above, in the sky that had always been quiet. Now, there were strange, unmoving clouds, shaped like giant wings. Her voice in my mind. Cole didn't sleep for the next 3 nights. How could he? The winged woman had entered his apartment, touched his chest, spoken to him, and then vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the glowing stone and a memory that burned like fire in his veins. But the strangest part wasn't the fear. It was the silence. The stone no longer pulsed. The wind no longer whispered her wings across the balcony. And the sky above Colony 7 had gone still. Too still. It was the kind of silence that made you feel like something was waiting just beyond the clouds, watching, listening. On the 4th night, Cole heard her voice again, but not with his ears. It started as a pressure behind his eyes, soft and strange, like someone was gently tapping the inside of his skull. He rubbed his temples, thinking it was a migraine. But then came the whisper. "Cole." He froze. His name, said with a voice that wasn't human, low, smooth, and distant. Like a song from a faraway storm, he spun around. "No one there." "Hello?" he called. No answer. Then came a second voice. "They are close. Stay inside." Cole stumbled back, heart pounding. The voice wasn't coming from around him. It was inside him. His thoughts, his head, his own mind. He gripped the edge of the counter, breathing hard. Then something even stranger happened. Images began flashing behind his eyes like dreams while awake. A ruined city. Giant winged towers crumbling into ash. A child's scream, then silence. And finally, her face. The winged woman stood beneath a dark sky, staring up at something massive. She looked smaller now, younger, afraid. Her wings wrapped tight around herself like a shield. Cole dropped to his knees, the vision vanishing. He wasn't just hearing her. He was seeing her memories. And they hurt, not just emotionally. They physically hurt. Blood dripped from his nose. His breath came in short gasps. Then a final message entered his mind like a blade. "You are part of me now." The next morning, Cole walked through the lower levels of Colony 7. He needed answers. He visited a forbidden district, the old archives, a sealed part of the colony left behind after a reactor leak. But rumors said the military once stored alien tech here, unofficially, of course. Cole broke through the rusted side entrance with a plasma cutter. The place smelled of dust and rusted metal. He carried the glowing stone in his pocket. As he walked, lights flickered on and off. The deeper he went, the louder a strange humming grew, not from machines but from the stone. It was responding to something down here. He followed the pulse like a compass. Then he found it, a sealed vault door, covered in warning signs written in 3 languages, including one he didn't recognize. He placed the stone against the door. It opened. Inside, the room was filled with floating crystals, blue, green, and silver. They hovered in the air, spinning slowly. Each one pulsed with a soft light. In the center stood a tall glass cylinder. Inside it, a preserved creature floated in liquid. Cole's breath caught. It was one of them. A winged alien. Not the woman he knew, but one of the others. Smaller. More insect-like. Sharp claws. Soulless eyes. Suddenly, the stone in Cole's pocket flared. A new wave of images hit him. This time, he saw the truth. Long ago, a rift opened between two galaxies, a bridge of energy. Her people were the guardians of that rift, chosen to protect both sides. But something else slipped through. Creatures from another dimension. Dark, formless things that could take shape and twist life. The colony's expansion efforts had disturbed that rift, opened it wider, allowed the others to escape. Her people tried to stop them, but they failed. She was the last of her kind, still bonded to the rift's seal, and now, she had bonded with him. Cole left the archive before security detected him. He returned to his apartment, mind racing. He wasn't just involved by accident. He was chosen. He didn't know why. But she had given him something, or perhaps she had shared something. Later that night she came again, not in body, but in voice, and vision. The lights in his room dimmed. The walls seemed to bend. Time slowed, and then standing in front of him in a beam of glowing mist was her, a projection. She looked weak, flickering, like a ghost made of light. "You saw them," she said. Cole nodded. "You saw what I could not say with words. You bonded me," he whispered. She looked away, ashamed. "I had no choice. They hunt you now." Cole stepped forward. "Then help me fight them." She looked at him with deep, tired eyes. "You are still human. You do not understand what it means to carry my bond. Then show me." Silence. Then, she reached out. Cole felt a sharp pull in his chest. Something inside him opened like a locked door, and for the first time he felt it fully. Her mind, her thoughts, her pain, her memories. He felt the weight of 1,000 years of war. He felt the cold loneliness of space. He felt the guilt of leaving her people to die. And he felt something else. Hope. Hope. In him. Cole collapsed to the floor, gasping. His body felt like it was burning from the inside. But as he looked up, the projection was gone, and on his right hand, a faint glowing mark appeared, a symbol, curved like a wing, pulsing softly, a bond, sealed in light. Later that night, alarms sounded across the colony. A blackout, strange shapes spotted above the tower lines. Guards reported a winged figure fighting, something unseen in the sky, and Cole stood at his window once again, breathing heavily, not out of fear, but out of purpose. He whispered into the night, "I'm ready." And far above, in the clouds, her voice answered back, "Then stand with me, human." The warning, the mark on Cole's hand, didn't fade. Days passed, then a week, and still the symbol glowed beneath his skin like a quiet ember. It didn't hurt, but it felt alive. Sometimes it pulsed when he wasn't thinking about it, and sometimes it pulsed in rhythm with something outside his body. The winged woman hadn't returned in physical form. No knock on the glass, no shadow by the balcony, no hovering presence at 2:03 a.m., but Cole could feel her. Whenever he stood near the window, the mark would warm gently. Whenever he closed his eyes, he could almost hear her breathing. But something else had changed too. He wasn't the only one feeling it. Reports started spreading across the colony. Malfunctions in the power grid, frozen elevators, unexplained, static in communication signals. Nothing big enough to panic the public, just enough to feel wrong. Cole tried to warn people. He approached security officials, technicians, even his old boss at the repair dock. No one listened. "You're burnt out, Cole," they said. "You always had a big imagination. Maybe take some time off." But Cole wasn't imagining it. He knew something was coming. And the woman's last message echoed through his thoughts like a drum beat. "They hunt the marked. That night he heard her voice again, not a whisper this time, a cry, sharp, broken, afraid. Cole sat up in bed, drenched in sweat. The stone on his table had shattered into pieces hours ago, and now the only sign of her presence was the heat radiating from the mark on his hand, and the voice echoing in his skull. They breached the veil. He gripped his temples, heart hammering. One of them, inside the colony. Cole rushed to his balcony. Outside, the city was dark. Too dark. Not just a blackout. A full silence, like the power had been drained from the sky itself. He looked up. Above the towers, the stars were missing. A swirling shadow had covered the sky, like a black fog, not clouds. Something worse. Then, in the silence, he heard it, clicking. Slow, deliberate clicking. He turned. Across the street, on the rooftop of the neighboring apartment building, stood a shape, tall, thin, with arms too long and eyes that glowed yellow like dying stars. It didn't fly. It didn't speak. It only watched and breathed. Cole backed away from the glass slowly. His mark began to burn. No, not now. Crack! The glass window shattered inward. Cole dove to the floor just as a black claw swiped through the air above his bed. The creature leapt inside, moving unnaturally, its limbs bent the wrong way, its face split into 3 sharp mandibles. And then, just as it lunged toward him, boom! A blast of blue energy slammed into the creature, sending it crashing through the opposite wall. Cole looked up. She was back. The winged woman. And this time, her eyes burned with fire. She floated into the room, wings wide and powerful, armor cracked from battle. One of her arms hung limp, bleeding, glowing liquid, but her voice was steel. Behind me. Cole obeyed instantly, scrambling behind her as the creature screeched and rose from the rubble. It hissed, but didn't charge again. Instead, it spoke. Not with a mouth. With his mind. You do not belong to her. Cole's blood turned to ice. You are human. You are nothing. The winged woman snarled. Leave now, or be erased. The creature clicked its claws together. You are too late. More have crossed. The rift is wide. Cole watched in horror as it melted into the shadows. Literally melted. Its body breaking into black mist and vanishing through the cracks in the wall. When it was gone, the room fell silent again. Cole turned to her. What was that? She looked at him, her breath heavy. A shade from the rift, a scout, they sent it to test you. Test me? I almost died. She lowered her head. Yes. And now they know what you are. He backed away slowly. What am I? She looked at him for a long moment. Then she walked to the center of the room and touched the mark on his hand. Instantly, a beam of light surrounded them both. Walls vanished, floor faded. They were standing in the middle of a starlit void. Cole looked around in awe. What is this? A memory, she said. Not yours. Mine. She pointed. In the distance, a giant tear hung. In the sky, like a bleeding wound. Purple and red light spilling from it in waves. Dozens of winged figures stood around it, chanting, protecting. Then creatures burst from the rift, black, formless, terrible. War followed, chaos, death. This was my world, she said softly. We were guardians. We failed. Cole swallowed hard. And now they're here. Yes. Because you humans dug too deep. Cole clenched his fists. So what now? What do we do? She turned to him, eyes glowing brighter. You fight with me. The vision faded. They were back in his ruined apartment. The wind howled outside. Sirens echoed far away. Cole looked at her. Why me? Why did you choose me? She stepped close, voice low. Because you didn't run. I wanted to, but you didn't. They stood in silence. Then she added, almost a whisper, You're the only one who sees me as more than a monster. Cole looked at her face, now just inches from his. He saw something in her expression, something broken, something lonely. "You're not a monster," he said. She nodded once. "Then help me prove it." That night, Cole didn't sleep again. Instead, he packed what he could. Supplies, tools, a plasma torch. The rift was opening wider, and the shades were coming. The colony didn't believe him. The officials wouldn't listen, but he knew. And she knew. And when the first real attack came, when the sky turned red and people screamed in the streets, only two figures stood against the dark. A winged woman who had lost her world, and the human she had marked as her only hope. The rift opens at first. No one believed him. When Cole ran to the colony guards, to the government outpost, to the emergency station, they all turned him away. "We appreciate your concern, citizen," they said. "There's no sign of a threat," they said. "You should get some rest." But that night, the sky tore open. At exactly 2:03 a.m., the same hour she used to perch at his window, the rift above Colony 7 split with a flash of red lightning. It didn't appear slowly. It ripped. Like the universe was paper and something angry had slashed it wide open. The stars vanished. The sky bled purple, and the screaming started. Cole stood on the balcony, already dressed in armor and holding the charged plasma blade she helped him build from scavenged tech. Below him, chaos unfolded. People ran in the streets. Buildings flickered with power loss. Drones fell from the sky like dead birds. The air shimmered with heat and static. And then the first shade came through. Not one like before. Not a scout. This one was bigger. Much bigger. 20 feet tall. Long. Arms, wings made of smoke and blades. Eyes that didn't blink, just burned. Cole's mark lit up like fire on his hand. It was here for him. Then he saw her, the winged woman. She wasn't hiding this time. She descended from the sky like lightning wrapped in feathers. Her armor glowed, her wings spread wide. Her eyes blazed with white-hot light. She struck the creature with such force, the ground shook beneath them. They fought like gods, her speed against its raw power. Cole wanted to help. He had to help, but he wasn't ready. Not yet. His body still burned from the last vision. The mark had changed him, but not fully. She had told him it would take time, but time had run out. The colony defense teams finally responded. Drones swarmed the streets. Ground mechs moved into position. Laser turrets unfolded from rooftops. But the weapons did almost nothing. The creatures weren't like anything humans had fought before. They moved between dimensions. Bullets passed through. Missiles missed their targets mid-air. Even energy weapons only slowed them down, but she could hurt them, and that made her their only hope. Cole realized this fast, and the rest of the colony started to see it too. From the top of the control tower, he watched her battle two more shades in mid-air. She flew between buildings, dodging blasts of black fire, cutting through shadow with her own glowing blades, and every time she struck, the rift pulsed above. Cole touched the mark on his hand. It was calling him. Inside the tower, he broke into the central grid room. The AI security system triggered instantly. Unauthorized entry. Step back. Override Protocol 87 Blue, Cole barked. Emergency breach. Open portal relay logs now. The AI paused. Then, for some reason, it obeyed. Maybe because of the mark. Maybe because she had changed him more than he knew. The screens lit up. Cole scanned the data. Coordinates. Energy patterns. Rift fluctuations. It was worse than they thought. The rift wasn't just here, it was spreading, slowly reaching other colonies, feeding on fear, destruction, and unsealed minds. His was sealed now. Hers too. That's why they were still sane. And that's why they were targets. A loud crash shattered the tower windows. Cole ducked as a piece of burning drone wreckage smashed into the floor. The sky outside was blazing with unnatural color. The shades were winning. Then, with a flash of white light, the winged woman slammed into the tower's edge. She landed, bleeding, wings damaged. Cole rushed to her. "You're hurt." She looked up. Not yet defeated. He helped her up. "We have to close the rift." She nodded weakly. "Only one way. Tell me." She touched his mark, and he saw it. The truth. Inside the rift was a core, a living engine of chaos. She was once its gatekeeper. But her bond was broken long ago when her people fell. Now she needed a second half, someone to complete the bond, someone human. The bond could give her power again, but it would also give Cole everything she had, memories, strength, pain, and purpose. But if they failed to close it, they would both be consumed, forever. Cole didn't hesitate. He placed his hand on hers. Light exploded around them, their minds linked. He felt everything. Her sorrow, her battles, the cold silence after the fall of her world. The moment she found him, alone, watching the stars, and not afraid. She had waited so long for someone like him, and now, he was ready. The bond was complete. Cole's body lit with strange energy. He rose off the ground, wings of radiant light unfolding from his back. Not real wings, but hers, through him. She stood beside him, stronger now. Together, they took to the sky. Above the colony, the rift spun like a storm. More shades were coming through. Cole and the winged woman fought side by side, slashing, shielding, burning shadow with light. The people below stared in shock. Many recorded them. Many wept. For the first time, the colony saw what they really were. Not monsters, but protectors. As they reached the center of the rift, Cole felt the pull, the pain, like his soul was being stretched across a galaxy. But he held on. She guided him, whispering in his mind, "Just a little more, hold." And then, he saw it, the rift core, a massive, shifting mass of darkness. It breathed. It hungered. It saw him, and it attacked. Cole screamed as the force struck his mind like 1,000 knives. But she was there, her wings wrapped around him. "You are not alone." He reached into the light of the bond, and pushed. The light shot forward, straight into the rift core. The core screamed. The rift shook, the sky cracked, and then, boom! The rift collapsed. The sky went silent. The shades vanished, and the stars returned. Cole and the winged woman fell back to the surface, landing on the tower roof. Burned, tired, shaking, but alive. The colony slowly calmed. The alarm stopped. People stared at the sky where the rift had been. Some cheered, some cried, and some simply whispered the truth. A human, and a winged one, saved us. Cole looked at her. "It's over?" She shook her head. "No." "Why?" She looked to the stars, because something opened it from the other side. The choice of the rift was gone. The sky was whole again, and the people of Colony 7, once terrified, once blind, now watched with stunned silence as the one they feared, the winged woman, stood in their skies like a guardian reborn, beside a human whose body no longer felt entirely his own. Cole's wings flickered as he landed on the rooftop beside her. They weren't feathers. They were energy, living light, born from the bond. He could feel her thoughts, her emotions, like they were etched into his bones now. But there was a weight in his chest, a pressure that hadn't faded, even after the battle. And when he looked into her glowing eyes, he saw it. The rift was closed, but not sealed. The next morning, the colony tried to return to normal. Workers cleared rubble. Drones cleaned the broken streets. Screens blinked with government announcements about atmospheric anomalies and spontaneous power surges. No mention of the rift, no mention of the attack, no mention of her. But the people remembered. They whispered about the human who had changed, about the creature who had saved them all, about the bond they saw between them, something stronger than any weapon. Cole didn't care what they whispered. He cared about one thing. Why him? Inside an abandoned hangar outside the colony gates, he confronted her. She stood with her back to him, wings lowered, head bowed. He'd never seen her this still, this uncertain. "Why did you choose me?" he asked. She didn't answer at first. He stepped closer. "You could have bonded with anyone. Someone trained, someone strong." She finally turned, her voice was quiet. "I watched many, before you." Cole's heart beat faster. "You watched others?" "Yes. Many nights. Many windows. But none saw me." He froze. "Until you," she said. "You saw me. And didn't run." Cole sat down on a cracked metal crate. "I'm not a hero." "You didn't have to be," she replied. "You were human, and that was enough." He looked at the mark on his hand. It pulsed faintly like a slow heartbeat. "But I don't feel human anymore," he whispered, "because you are becoming something else." He stood. "What does that mean?" Her wings opened slowly. The bond was only the beginning. "You carry my energy now, my memories, my instincts. It will spread." "Spread?" She nodded. "In time, you will not age. You will not sleep. Your body will adapt to the skies." Cole's breath caught. "You mean I'll become like you?" "Not fully, but enough to never go back." The hangar fell silent. For the next 2 days, Cole stayed alone. The more he tried to act normal, the more distant he felt. Food tasted like dust. His reflection didn't look quite right. His eyes, once a dull brown, now glowed faint silver in the dark. He couldn't sleep, and every time he touched the ground, he missed the sky. Memories that weren't his whispered in his dreams. Battles in alien skies, songs in languages his mouth couldn't speak, the weight of a dying race, and a single voice that always called out to him, "You are not broken. You are chosen." On the third night, she returned to him. No window. No hiding. She landed in the courtyard where he stood alone, under the cold light of the stars. He looked up at her. "I can't stay here, can I?" She shook her head. "Your soul is already moving forward. The humans will always see you as something else now. Even if they thank you, they won't understand you." He felt it too. People had started avoiding him in the streets, not with anger, with fear, with distance. "What happens if I go with you?" he asked. "We search the stars," she said. "We find the source of the rift, and we stop it from ever opening again. And if I stay?" She paused. "Then you will fade." Cole blinked. "Fade? Your body cannot carry my power in this world. It will twist, fracture, burn you out. So I die." Yes, the choice was cruel. Stay and die slowly, or leave and become something else. Cole stared up at the stars. Once, they were just distant lights. Now they were calls, voices, each one whispering of a war not yet finished. "If I go with you, will I still be me?" She stepped closer. "You will be more." "Will I still feel human?" She touched his chest. "You will feel what I feel, and I have always envied your heart." He smiled faintly. "That's not an answer." She smiled too. "Then come with me, and find the answer yourself." They left that night. No goodbyes, no ceremony. Cole wrote a short message and left it on his door. "Don't forget what you saw. Protect your sky. I'll protect the rest." They flew together for hours, through the clouds, past the satellite belt, into the cold silence between colonies. Her wings lit the darkness. His new ones followed, slower, flickering, but growing stronger with each mile. Finally, at the edge of a broken moon station, they stopped. "This is where we begin," she said. A new rift shimmered ahead. Small, but alive. Cole took her hand. "Then let's finish what your people started." "No," she corrected softly. "What our people started, and together, with hearts stitched by pain, power, and an impossible bond, They dove into the unknown. The last flight space was not silent. Cole had always believed the lie that space was quiet, calm, peaceful. But now he knew better. As he and the winged woman flew toward the second rift, smaller, hidden between the shattered moons of a forgotten mining system, he could feel it, the pulse, not sound, not light, something deeper, something alive. The rift didn't tear through space. It beat like a heart, like it was waiting. They landed on the remains of a research vessel split in two by a collision. The winged woman stood in silence, staring at the violet light pulsing from the rift ahead. Cole stepped beside her. His wings buzzed faintly with energy. They were stronger now, more stable. His body didn't ache anymore when he flew. The mark on his hand had spread halfway up his arm, glowing softly like etched fire beneath his skin. But something felt wrong. "What's different about this one?" he asked. She answered without turning. "It's not a tear. It's a door. A door to where? A world that doesn't belong in ours." Cole's breath caught. "Can we close it?" She finally turned to face him. Only from the other side. They had been fighting shadows, escaping scouts, tracking echoes of the rift's energy across abandoned outposts and long-lost colonies, always chasing the same goal, the source. And now it was right in front of them, but it came with a cost. "If we cross through," Cole said quietly, "we might not come back." She didn't answer. She didn't have to. He already knew. They stood at the edge of the rift. The light twisted, folding space around it like liquid glass. Echoes of screams, not human, poured faintly from its core. He could see shapes moving inside. And then, he saw them. Figures with wings like hers, but corrupted. Burning. Twisted into something else. Their eyes hollow. Their thoughts empty. "What happened to them?" he whispered. "They were like me," she said softly. "Guardians, until the darkness fed on their grief, their guilt, their memories." Cole gritted his teeth. "We stop this. Now." She nodded once. "But we must do it together. Bonded not by need, but by will." He held out his hand. "Then let's finish this." She stepped forward and placed her hand over his. Their marks flared. Their wings burst into full light, and they stepped into the rift. The world inside was wrong. Cole immediately felt it. Gravity that pulled sideways. Air that hummed like metal, colors that had no name. The sky was full of shifting storms. The ground moved like breath underfoot. Shades drifted around them. Hundreds, silent and curious, but none attacked. Not yet. They moved as one. Cole and the winged woman pressed forward, deeper into the heart of the dimension. And there, at the center of a floating obsidian citadel, waited the core. But it was no longer just an object. It had a face, a creature made of stars and darkness, 10 stories tall, wings made of shattered time. It looked like nothing and everything at once, and it spoke, not in sound, in feeling. "You are broken, one of flesh, one of failure, bonded by grief, doomed by hope." Cole clenched his fists. "We're not broken. You are not whole. She lost her world, and you will lose yours." He stepped forward, the fire of the bond burning bright. "We didn't come to argue. We came to end you." The creature lunged, and the battle began. They fought with everything. They had. Cole and the winged woman moved like two stars in orbit, dancing between blades of shadow and fire. The bond between them pulsed like a living thing. Every time he faltered, she lifted him. Every time she weakened, he carried her with his light. The corrupted guardians attacked in swarms, beings like her, now empty puppets of the rift. She screamed as she struck them down, her heart breaking with each blow. Cole held the line, shielding her with light. They reached the core. But it was shielded by memories, false visions that tried to break them apart. Cole saw his mother calling him home. She saw her people alive again, He saw her leave him behind. She saw him burn in the sky. But they both said the same thing. No, they tore through the illusions, reached the core, and she whispered, "Now." Cole closed his eyes, opened his soul, and poured every ounce of his bond, his love, his pain, his humanity, into the heart of the rift. The creature howled. Time shattered. Space folded. And then, light. When Cole opened his eyes again, he was falling, down through clouds, back into real space, but alone. He landed hard in a crater beside Colony 7. His wings gone, his mark faded. The sky above him was blue again, but she wasn't. There. Days passed. The colony celebrated. They called him the Rift-born, a hero. But he didn't care. He searched the stars every night, waited for the sound of wings at his window, waited for her voice in his mind. But it never came. Until one night. He was walking alone near the edge of the platform, cold wind brushing his face, and then he heard it fluttering. He turned, and there she was, not hovering, standing, alive, but different. Her wings were dimmer, her glow was softer, but her eyes were the same. "You came back," he breathed. She nodded. "A piece of me remained, and it followed the one who carried it. Me. Always you." They stood in silence. Then she took his hand. "The rift is closed now, but the stars still call. Will they ever stop? No. Then let's answer them." And together, one more time, they rose into the sky, not as human, not as alien, but as something new, something chosen, something unbreakable.